What's good, y'all? It's your boy King Donnie back again with another video. And today I've got another mental health topic to discuss. And today's mental health topic is your social media addiction is causing your depression. Now, for me personally, it all started back in 6th grade when I got my first phone. So, it was back during when I was about to enter middle school. My mom gave me my first ever iPhone. I think it was I think it was a Samsung. I think it was like the Samsung 7 or some bullshit like that. Either way, the phone was shitty, and but it got the job done. And yeah, I remember the first app I really downloaded was Instagram. And upon entering middle school, I thought things were gonna go good for me. I thought I had a good time with elementary school, my social life. I had plenty of friends, plenty of social interactions, connections, things like that. I thought it was all going to be smooth when I entered middle school. But it did not turn out to be the case, So upon entering middle school, I downloaded Instagram, things like that. I set up my page, my little page, my bio and my username. I chose a goofy ass username too. I chose it was the same as my Xbox 360 username, Don the Hedgehog. Yeah, that's just cringe as fuck, as y'all can probably hear. But yeah, I chose my username. I set up my page. I entered middle school, and I remember the kids. I got a few of my classmates' Instagrams, and we were texting shit like that, and that's when middle school, I'd say middle school is when I learned that the people in this world are not as nice as they may seem to be. So, I had a couple of friends upon entering middle school, I had a friend named Savion. I had one of my friends from elementary school. His name was Manuel. He was cool. And, but the thing was, there was always this, social hierarchy during middle school that I was never that involved with. So as you know, there was always these jocks, these kids who played sports, and there was they were always the popular guys, and there was guys like me who, even though I've always been tall. Let's get this straight. I've always been tall, even in elementary school and middle school. I've always been the tallest in the class, so people expected me to play sports. But the thing was, I wasn't really a sporty kid growing up, I was always the art kid, always the kid who didn't play sports, I was never good at basketball. Matter of fact, I think I'm worse than the average person at basketball, surprisingly enough, even though I'm tall. But yeah, I wasn't athletic at all, and so the kid at school started to make fun of me. Now, being at that point a 12-year-old kid, that shit really affects you. Now looking back, I really don't give a fuck, because yeah, sports just isn't my thing. But that social expectation of you and how you're supposed to act in especially during school, that shit can really affect you as just a young person in general, even in high school too. It wasn't like that as much in high school, but it still existed. But yeah, and social media contributed to that. You see, social media is highlights. It highlights the best parts of your life. People post their achievements, their awards, things like vacations, places they go, expensive stuff like that. And it makes a young person want that, which in itself isn't a bad thing, but it creates a sense of envy, a sense of jealousy within a young person. It can even lead to a sense of hatred in some cases. Now, that's not to say that social media itself is harmless, but it's the way you use it that can really be negative towards your mental health. I know firsthand that when I saw these sports guys, people who I thought were better than me, do the things that I wanted to do, achieve the things that I wanted to achieve in life, like being in a high quality relationship and like being praised. That shit really affected me back in middle school. And yeah, it's not just Instagram too. It's things like Snapchat, even TikTok nowadays. Like, social media can really rot your brain. Now looking back at it, I remember the kids, especially the jocks in high school, were always trying to imitate like these rappers and always like these celebrities that they saw on social media, trying to dress like them, trying to act like them, trying to act like a gangster. Now, fortunately enough, I was smart enough not to fall into that trap, but a lot of people who I was actually pretty close with ended up trying to imitate this rough, tough, like persona, and I could see that it would cause major problems in their life. Now, parts of me, there was parts of me that wanted to become like them, you know, like, as you know, people like Drake, rappers like, I don't know, I'm not a big rap guy, but you know, kids try to imitate the rappers, and you know, I'll say this: they definitely got the girls. They definitely got the girls in high school and middle school, but yeah, I can see even now as I'm a student in college, that lifestyle that they tried to imitate did not end well for them. A lot of them are unemployed. A lot of them don't know what to do with their life because they spent most of their life trying to imitate something that wasn't really attainable. And so, you know, social media kind of contributes to that. Now, after me and my first girlfriend broke up, I decided to take my first ever break from social media. And guys, I gotta tell you, it did wonders for my mental health. So I wouldn't say I was always a jealous person, but I've always like been envious of people who I perceive as being like higher up in the social hierarchy than me. Seeing people with nice clothes, hell, people with cars, people who achieve things that I wanted to achieve. And so I decided, hey, I'm gonna step back from this social media thing. I'm going to evaluate myself. I'm going to improve myself. And so I deleted Instagram and all my social media for about 3 months. And I decided to spend time with myself in the real world. And I'll tell you this, my mental health definitely skyrocketed after that. You know, my social interactions got way better because I spent less time texting and more time improving my conversational skills, you know. Not only that, but it's just, I started picking up new hobbies, you know. I started, now I've always been an art guy, but I started to draw more, I started to read more, I started to spend time with my family more. And so, when I came back to social media, it wasn't as bad, you know, I wasn't always comparing myself anymore. And so, I urge everyone, especially if you're dealing with like mental problems when it comes to social media and when it comes to affecting your health, your mental health, I suggest everyone do like a dopamine detox, or like just take a few months break from social media. You know, it could really it really has benefits. Now, this doesn't have to be a long break. Like I said before, I only took a break for about 3 months before I went back. But just taking a break in general, like going out to the park, you know, being in society, being a functioning member of society for like a few months can really benefit your mental health, which I urge a lot of you to at least try once in your life. Now, I know social status and things like that are really important to some people, which I can understand, especially now as an adult, where sometimes you have to like buckle down and like improve your social image. But guys, sometimes you just gotta log out for a few seconds. Hell yeah, a few seconds, you know, just go outside, go to like, as I said before, go to a park, breathe fresh air. That can really, and I mean really, improve the way you think Nowadays, I usually just use social media as a means of communication, you know. I rarely like look at stories or look at posts. I usually just go to the text and just text back people who are communicating with me. That's what I use social media for. Things like that. I don't look at posts or like, you know, stories because, you know, I'm not trying to like make myself jealous of anyone else. You know, I have my own journey to go on. Their journey is their journey, my journey is my journey. And I urge everyone to choose their own journey rather than be obsessed with others' journey. Now, this is a pretty brief video from me. This video is unscripted. This is my first unscripted video on this channel. I'm not sure how I feel about it. You know, I was rambling a little bit. You know, I repeated some points, and I don't know how I feel about that. But let me know down in the comment section below if you like the unscripted videos or the 2 scripted videos I posted before this. But with that being said, X Warriors at ease.